Hello, everyone. Come in to this new session here on today. Come in and we're going to talk books on today. Sorry about the lighting. I've been waiting for a bright day, but of course, it's winter time, so those come randomly. So I said it's kind of nice outside right now a little bit, so I'm going to take advantage of it while I can, but it's been rather gloomy as of lately, so you all know how that is. So for everyone who doesn't know, my name is Kayleen Pendarvis. I am an author, writer. I also write screenplays as well. And so I also do book reviews as well of self-published authors. And those authors have actually sent me their work. So I do reviews of their work per request. And they also would like those reviews shared with you too. So diving on in, we're going to talk about a book today. It's called Alter Ego. So I always start off here. I want to show you, of course, the cover of the book. Okay, so I actually want to get a good view here. So the author's name is Tori Allen. All right. And before we go into anything, I always review the cover. All right. So on this cover, I actually got a lot of different things about this cover. So first thing, as you can see, and I'm not by any means whatsoever scientifically inclined. I'm not medically inclined. I'm not any of that. So whatever other types of fields can come out after that, I'm not. My favorite things is art history and English. So when it comes down to this, I'm lost, really. But I expected it to make sense, of course, when you dive into the book. And so what I see are some bottles here. And forgive me, again, I've seen these types of bottles when I was in school. And I'm pretty sure it's so easy. There's probably going to be someone watching this that's like, oh, it's this kind of bottle. Okay, great. But yeah, I just see bottles with liquid. And so I also see, looks like a table here. And then we have a door. So what does this door mean? I wonder. Where does this door go to? We have a white light. And you all know what that saying is. You go into the white light. There's just something up beyond that. So just don't really know here. There's a lot of mystery. So I kind of like that because, sometimes you see covers that have so much going on and it's not necessary. So sometimes less is best. So we've heard of that before. Less is sometimes best. And that gives for the mystery, as you can see, when I picked up this book, I was like, what's going on? What's going to happen? All right, so we are flipping onto the back. Here we have the author. This is Tori Allen. All right. Now, I'm going to tell you, when I started this, I noted some good things. Had a nice little table of contents and so on and so forth. And apparently this book here is a part of the Davenport Decrees. So this is actually one of the, it says book 1. So Mr. Allen actually intended to write more. So hopefully he did. You can check into it, Davenport Decrees. So I will say that when I started this, I was immediately immersed. I mean, we've got FBI stuff, we've got police, we've got conflict, initially over a dead body. And, it actually felt like I was in the FBI because we had the main character, he was actually just driving along, Jack, his name. And so, bumping into some people who were giving him sort of a hard time. And these people were part of the police force. So I actually felt like it was there, that I was there, and just some things that I pointed out: FBI jacket, car, tape, roads. So different things of such as the lingo that I didn't know about. That was actually prevalent here, and I would like to know more personality in order to help place the voices. That was one of the things that stood out. It was kind of like people were just talking, and then you didn't really know I didn't really know what type of voice to give this person. Were they someone who, maybe ex-military, kind of rough, maybe, who knows? Are they someone who's of the quiet type, so that when I'm play acting my voices in my head, I can just give them a soft voice? Are they a cool cat? you know, I didn't really know how to place the voices. They were just really saying things, and I based my play acting of their characters based on the things that they were saying. But there were some times where there were similarities in some of the things that they were saying. So that kind of threw me, and I would have liked a little bit more backstory on those characters, just so that I can be a little bit more involved on their, in my mind, play acting their voices, since there were so many, right? All right, so there were some line errors, just some few things here. Going on to my next notes. Okay, so here, so I was really unsure if I was intended to connect with any of these characters, because by now on page 12, the same pattern of not giving me backstory on the characters was continuous. So it just wasn't any backstory given to them. That they were just more or less placed in the situation, and by being placed in the situation, that really got to me, because even the backstory behind the main character wasn't really there. Mind you, they were saying some really good things, really cool things, really normal and natural things. I will say Tori has the ability to make conversations natural. It's like you're actually saying these things or having this conversation with someone. So I will say that he is really good at that. More pages can come by giving backstories, and it helps the readers make more connections. Now, of course, we're not page drivers, but some people actually like to have length in the books, more or less. They like to have the books be long because they don't sometimes want the story to end. So spend some time on the characters, develop them more, and that way that gives a little bit more stretch to your book. And it's fun because it actually shows the creative side of the author. Can you create backstories on the characters and have it make sense, so that when the readers are hearing them say certain things, they're like, okay, that makes sense for that person to say that. I mean, based on his past, he's going to say stuff like that. He's going to respond that way. So it's really big. Just some minor punctuation errors, some minor grammatical errors that I did notice here. And I can't stress enough, very realistic dialogue. My gosh, it's like a two-way street. It's like his characters were talking. I mean, it's almost like, did he really have a conversation with people just to make these scenes? Now, I know that it's a talent for authors, more or less, to make dialogue be realistic. And it's something that some authors really struggle with, believe it or not. You have some authors that are more descriptive and they focus on narration, and that's their strong point. And then you have some authors who focus on dialogue, that they can do this like that. This author here, Tori, is one of those authors. When it comes down to dialogue, hands down, he takes the cake. There's nothing on that. But he is not one that excuse me, losing my voice here. He is not one that is really strong on narration. It's very obvious. I will get to that point in just one moment to delve on that. But when you are writing, you have to have a balance. Okay, it's needed. My least favorite character here was Chief McAllister, regardless as to how the author tried to spin him into some cool guy. Later on, he shakes hands. He's not someone who is my favorite. I don't really like him. He rubbed me the wrong way. And I don't really like rude folks. Yeah, that's not really cool with me. But, it did change eventually down the line a little bit. The story, so far, the plot, it is believable. The book does have a believable plot. But was everything in the book factual? I would say no, because looking into it, and I'll explain. Jack, representing the FBI, had to wait on the chief before starting the investigation on the cadaver. Well, facts. FBI outranked police and deputies under the supremacy clause of the Constitution. They should have abided by his command even if the laws conflict. So, believability, yes. Interesting, yes. Okay. Because, that did stand out to me. It was kind of, why aren't the police doing what the FBI say? It's kind of like your boss coming down and telling your managers what to do. Or I would just say this, the owner of the company coming down to tell the store managers what to do. And they're saying, well, we're not going to do it until this particular manager comes down this way. That's what it kind of was like. And so no matter what you say, we're going to do this out of respect for him because he runs this. Yeah. So I had to look into that to see if that was that they should have done what he said. So y'all tell me, more or less, I got stuck. Y'all tell me what you think about this sentence in the comments. Okay. So I got some Afro sheen on the receiver and had to wipe it down. So, spelling that back on to you guys. I got some Afro sheen on the receiver and had to wipe it down. So, again, Tori has opportunity for narration. He's not someone who really does that. So this line came as a part of a dialogue, and it was one of the characters saying it on the other side of the phone. And this is what he said. So my thing is, are we insinuating that this character's body name was Blaine? Is he Blaine? Don't know. But is that supposed to be a context clue by him using Afro sheen, which I've never used a day in my life? Historically, people using that. I mean, what time period are we in? There was no real establishment of the time period. No ethnicity was established of Blaine, just this particular line. So I did some research, and I discovered that Afro sheen was most popular in the 60s until 2001. So people are not even really using it. But why? It's not really a description. Again, it's just a part of the dialogue. All right. So now coming on here, and I'm just going to say that for me, and not everyone, just for me particularly, I more or less really lost a lot of engagement due to constant dialogue. There was constant dialogue, no breakages, over explanations of things. Sometimes those scenes really just needed to just come to a close, and that's it. But we found pages after pages after pages after pages after pages of just talking. And again, narration is very important to break that. Maybe going back into some flashbacks, or maybe going into foreshadowing or something, maybe describing something a little further, just stopping with the narration, putting that in there, and then, stopping the dialogue, putting the narration in there, and it breaks it. Or just even still, just having story progression. Now, a lot of the story was being described through the dialogue. And this was quite unique for me. I had not seen this before. I've seen that some authors feed on the dialogue, feed on the conversation. It's important to have a balance. And once I got into a certain point, the constant talking, we're talking sometimes 12 and 15 pages at a time, at least I've seen some situations at least 7 or 8 pages long of constant talking back and forth. And by the way, the conversations will be extremely wonderful. No, hands down, Tori is an excellent communicator. It was just, like I said, it was a bit much for me. Now, the plot itself, it's pretty interesting. I'm not going to tell you what it is about. The story is very believable, and it has a lot of potential to be really and super great. So this is going to be the end of the book review here for Alter Ego. So I'm looking forward to talking to you guys next about the next story. If you liked this commentary here, please leave me a thumbs up and like and subscribe to the channel. Again, I do bi-weekly book reviews, putting those up here because, of course, I have to read the book and then do the video. So I look forward to seeing you guys next time on the next book review, and thank you again for joining me. Bye-bye.